government recently has gotten involved in massive investigations across the United States in what I consider to be a crime without a victim, if it's a crime at all, and that is the exporting of luxury automobiles to China. Now, Chinese are willing to pay large amounts of money for luxury automobiles such as Mercedes, Porsches, Range Rovers, etc. And so a cottage industry has developed of people in the United States that are buying cars from dealership for the purpose of exporting them. And there's nothing illegal about this at all. Nowhere has Congress made it illegal to export a car to China or anywhere else in the world. Yet the manufacturers of these various automobiles have gotten the ear of the government because they want to make all the money and they think they're entitled to make every dollar to be made off a car, and that you can't buy a car from them and resell it for a profit because they're entitled to everything. Now, this hasn't worked in other areas. For example, somebody can buy an Apple iPhone and turn around and sell it in China at a greater price. There's nothing illegal about doing that. But for some reason, the car industry has been able to grab the ear of the government and to get federal agents all over the United States spending all of their time investigating this, quote, crime. And it's really a travesty of justice. Now, they have a theory of why this is a crime. The manufacturers have an internal policy that cars cannot be sold for export. Now, this is just their internal policy. Congress did not enact it. It's not a violation of the federal law to violate the internal policies of a car dealership. So the government has come up with another unique theory, and that's wire fraud, mail fraud, which is basically any kind of fraud or a misrepresentation to induce one to part with property. And the way this generally works is, since the dealers will not sell cars for export, after a while they get to know people that are coming in and buying all these luxury automobiles, and they put them on a blacklist. That is, they're banned from buying any more automobiles. But then the dealers tell these individuals, look, I can't sell any more automobiles to you because you're on the blacklist. But all you've got to do is have somebody else come in and buy the car, and then I can sell it to you. So they have what are called straw buyers come in. That's people that have been paid $500 or so to go into a car dealership and to buy a car and then turn around and give it to the person that had them go in there. And then the car is ultimately exported to China. And so the government has taken the position that using these straw buyers, and these straw buyers will be telling the dealer they're not for export, that's making a misrepresentation. But it still has to cause the dealer to lose money. And so the government's theory, and this is just a theory, is that the manufacturers do what's called a chargeback if they find a car has been exported. That is, the dealer is subject to having money charged back as a result of allowing a car to be exported. And in addition, the manufacturer may cut back on the allotment of future car purchases that particular dealer will be allowed. So the theory of the government is that is a misrepresentation that's induced that dealer to part with something of value, that is the chargebacks as well as the cutback on future allowances. Now, the joke about all this is the dealer isn't a victim. They know exactly what's going on. There are people going into the dealerships buying multiple cars for full retail price. They don't even test drive them. And there'll be one person that will be negotiating the transaction, and then a stranger will walk in with a cashier's check for the full amount. The dealers love this. The salesmen are making more money than they've ever made. The general managers are making more money than they've ever made. The car dealership is making more money than they've ever made. So don't ask me to cry a river for these poor victims, or so-called victims. But in any event, the moral of the story is that if you get involved in purchasing automobiles for the purpose of export and make a misrepresentation to the car dealership, that whether or not it's a crime, Our federal government is currently treating it as if it's a crime, and you are subject to being arrested and having the cars seized and forfeited to the government.